you know, there was that movie. And there's a lot of press about her in dance magazines, and people are doing her work.
Amazing.
Yeah. So she lives on. Yeah.
Do you feel you have a mission as a dancer?
Honestly, I don't know if I have a mission. I've always enjoyed teaching, so if I teach, I think that gives a great mission to what you've done in your life. But I think my mission is actually going to go beyond dancing, because I did a lot of community work in South Africa. I spent a lot of time in the communities there, and I feel like I'm doing this dance thing while I'm young, while I've got it in me. But I think I want to return back to that community work, because I feel like with that it's really something meaningful. You know, dance is meaningful, it touches people. But I think when you're giving of yourself, it's even stronger. So I think I'll dance for a little while, but my mission is to really get back into the community, I think.
Can you describe a little bit your life in South Africa and this work you did?
Yeah, we would, one of the jobs or volunteer work I had, I would go every week to a children's home.
Oh, wow.
And I built a relationship with each child over about 2 years, and saw them grow up, and when they reach 6 years old they have to leave the home, and unfortunately they can no longer care for them. But I'd seen these kids, you know, cry and laugh and grow up together as a small family, you know, of orphans. And I think when I stopped, I left school, you know, those relationships, I mean, they stay with me, but they left in South Africa, you know, with the children. And these bonds, I think, in South Africa, when things are difficult, things are hard, people can't eat, people have HIV, I think the bonds when you are giving of yourself is incredible, because times are hard, times are really tough. And I grew up in the most amazing environment. I was lucky, but when you see hardship in a very graphic way around you, you can connect really deeply with people. With empathy and compassion and sympathy, and giving of myself to these children was a very strong feeling, and I can still feel it today. So, yeah.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
I don't know, do you have any questions? I'm floating. So nice what you're saying. She said she doesn't know what she's going to say. I can't believe it. So I'm floating a bit. Yeah. Do you have a question? It's alright, I edit. I cut out. It's alright. We can take a pause, okay? There's a bit of juice. We need a break.
You speak so well.
Thank you.
It's really
She's amazing.
A great talker, huh?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really nice what you say as well. It's cool. Okay. Ready when you are?
Yeah, well, ready when you are.
Would you be interested in doing choreography?
Perhaps. I've never had a talent for it naturally. I've never really evolved it. When I was at school, I did some choreography, and it was never really my passion, so perhaps not. Perhaps.
And creating a troupe or this type of thing?
I mean, I definitely have a leader figure in myself, so I'm very good with bossing people around and getting people to line up. And so in that way, in a director way, I think I would be good at managing a troupe or something. Yeah, I think it's a great idea that you've mentioned before, and I don't know where it will go, but it's been on my mind. It's kind of been ringing, and I think I could do something pretty interesting with the dancers that I know in Berlin. There's a lot of talent, a lot of people who have come here, and I think we could make a good troupe out of it.
I met Anna Kaluza. She created the improvisation orchestra Berlin. You could maybe have an improvisation ballet troupe or something. I don't know. Just thinking. Absolutely. How can you describe the ballet scene, the dance scene at the moment? Is there a lot of work? Is there a lot of competition? Is it easy to survive?
Ballet is the most competitive sport. There's so many girls that are good, that are alright. And I think when you're the small little fish in a big ocean, you really learn how to fight. So at the moment, I would say no, there's not a lot of jobs. There's not a lot of open contracts in company jobs. There's not a lot of freelance work. But I think when you start leaving the ballet spectrum and you start looking outside of that, I think it completely changes. I think there's too many jobs for every dancer. And with the training, with the training that I've had, you can really branch out and be diverse. It's like that with music when you're classically trained. So when you start branching out, I think there's tons of stuff, tons of work out there, particularly in Berlin, actually. Yeah.
And it's where does the money come from? Because most artists have more difficulties in Berlin as there'd be less money. It's what type of contract is it for?
I think it's also tough for dancers. Also because I think it's expensive to be a dancer. You need the shoes and the clothes and all that stuff. So I think money-wise, the only thing that will really help you survive in dancing money-wise is the stuff we don't like. The generic gala where you're dressed in a pretty costume or raving around inside a Muppet or whatever, you know, that's great money and you can survive on that. And then the jobs you really want and that you really want to do, I think, are for pennies. But that's how it is.
Yes. Good. Okay. I'm thinking about the musical. You'll be participating as a dancer. The next part of House of Dreams. And you can do choreography.
Yeah.
Okay, I seem to. I was thinking about the Buddhist part a little bit, about this idea in terms of what you want to give. Does it influence your choices in what you choose to do? Does it have an influence your faith or the way you choose the work you do?
I would say because it's pointing me in a very honest direction. So any uncertainty I'll have when I chant about it, it puts me on the right track. So I think in that way it's helping me make choices, make decisions about where I'm going, what I want to do with my work. And I think it also keeps you disciplined because it's difficult to stay disciplined when you don't have a structure and when you're a freelance dancer. It takes a lot of work to keep in condition. So I think for me, with my Buddhism, with my chanting, I can really discipline myself in a way that I don't think I could. It's a discipline itself to chant.
Well, dancers are always very disciplined anyway, because that's how the technique comes.
Yeah.
How many hours per day do you train?
It goes in periods and waves, but I really try to put in an hour before every class, even if it's just something easy. Just a preparation, not only for the body but for the mind, before class, before the morning, before the day starts. And class is always in an hour, hour and a half, so that's at least about 2.5 hours. And then always after class, you know, you feel good, your blood is going, you know, you're sweating, and it's really good to stretch, you know, for maybe half an hour or so. So I think you're busy all the time working, and so the hours really do, and then you're thinking about it, and then you're visualizing, and you're watching DVDs, and I think you can really, you know, work on it for 12 hours a day. And I think I try to put in as much as I can every day.
You document yourself a lot? You watch things on DVD?
Yeah. Well, luckily we can with modern technology, and videoing and watching yourself on video is scary. It is so scary because it's really reflective of. So it kind of gets you a bit motivated, you know, when you watch a video of yourself. And I think it's a great tool. We're lucky to have that in this day and age.
Yeah, like the mirror.
Yeah.
A tough one, the mirror. It's not always your friend. Not always.
Yeah.
Do you have memories that you want to share, like of a moment in class, someone you've met, something nice that you've experienced?
Yeah, I mean, when I finished my training, I came over to Europe. And it was my first audition season. It was really scary for me coming from South Africa. And our first stop was Paris. And we stayed in this little hotel, and you know, we had our euros, and everyone was really excited, you know. And those euros did not go very far, but we really enjoyed Paris. And there were three of us, three students, and we were all together huddled at the Paris Opera, and we were taking pictures and everything. And all of a sudden, we see this really kind of messy woman, kind of oldish, like 40. This orange hair that was falling out, and she was kind of walking behind Paris Opera, and what is she doing in Paris Opera? And I was like, but that's Sylvie Guillaume. That's Sylvie Guillaume. And she turned around the corner to walk out, and she done this to her face, and they were like, oh my God, it is. You know.
She was hiding.
Well, no, she
Get the
was.
costume on.
She was as she is in real life, and not on stage. I mean, Sylvie Guillaume is one of the best dancers to have ever lived. And you see her on stage as this picture perfect, ideal, you know, with perfect technique and legs and everything. And then we see her in her work environment going home from work, and she's got this weird orange hair, and she's all like, you know, and three little ballet students from South Africa looking at her going, is that what ballet does to you? I don't know if I want to do this shit, you know. That was a nice memory. It was cool. Good times together about that in Paris. Yeah.
And in a ballet class? I like the ballet class thing.
Yeah. The hour spent in the ballet studio.
Did you have one with the stick, the old-fashioned one like that?
What, would they beat you?
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay.
Not that bad. But sometimes they still have it to intimidate you, even if they don't use it.
Yeah.
Just so you remember what they did before. In case.
Yeah, so, well, yeah, I do have a really funny one, so it's really embarrassing for me. But we used to, you know, it happens a lot in ballet class. When someone's good at something, they demonstrate, you know. So the music gets played again, and they do what everyone's done again on their own, you know.
Oh, yeah,
and when you're the demonstrator, you're demonstrating. It's a weird thing they do in ballet class.
Yeah, I know that, yeah.
So I was the demonstrator, you know, so I got up, and I think we were doing floor bar even, and it was like some kind of, I don't know what it was. And we would all watch each other, watch the demonstrator, and then each person had their own time to explain what they saw, you know, it was a training technique. So I did the right thing, really trying hard to demonstrate, you know. And everyone sat around, and everyone said their thing about what they saw, what was correct, what I could work on, you know, this analysis of whatever. And one of my friends was like, yeah, she was cheating. So I was like so embarrassed as a demonstrator. I was like, I wasn't cheating. Like, she was like, yeah, she was cheating. She moved her hip. And I was sitting there and I was like, no, I didn't. You know, this is a funny thing. And then the teacher was like, okay, girls, you know, that's enough. And you have these, whatever, I wasn't cheating, you know. I mean, you're not allowed to cheat in ballet, do something wrong. No.
Tough place.
Yeah, and I have a lot of unhappy memories in the ballet class.
Yeah.
A lot of unhappy
I know
memories.
you're sort of skipping them, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the one time I went through point work, we were doing 4 hours of point work a day without a break. To build up our repetition. It was this really crazy mentality. And I had a wound that had started opening from a blister. And because we were doing this every day, we didn't have time to heal the blister, and I didn't look after it carefully, and I didn't clean it enough and everything. Anyway, after about the second week of this 4-hour point work, it had gone septic, and you could see actually bone through the wound. It was over here, and I was getting ready for point work, and I was putting on my shoes, and the girls, no one speaks, but the girls were looking at me like, what the fuck's on your foot there, you know? They were like, Ash, you cannot dance on this.